All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Real Spill Sports Podcast. You know who it is. I'm Big Nate, joined by my man, Coach Taylor. Coach Taylor, what's happening with
you? Nothing much, man. Nothing much. Another day of life. Feeling good.
Another day. I know that's right. We have a special guest today, and I'm going to let Coach Taylor introduce him. This is one of Coach Taylor's guys here. So, Coach Taylor, do us the honor of introducing our guest.
Yes, sir. This is my former player, Jonathan Kamunga from London, England. How you doing today, Big Jono?
Life is good, you know. I'm appreciative. I'm thankful to be here. Glad to be on the show.
Bless up. Bless up.
Most definitely. Now, so you're from London, correct?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah. And where are you playing ball at currently?
I mean, I just played at Sac State currently, so I'm about to go to a new school next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So coming from England, how do you, I imagine it's got to be difficult to get on in the U.S., right? Because like it's not the same AAU circuits and all that stuff. Like how does that journey? How do you get over here, more or less?
I mean, put it like this: when I first came over here, that's when I went to go play for Coach Taylor. I went to prep school for a year because I wanted to get adjusted to the American game and see if there was any differences, see anything I wanted to adjust in my game before going to college. So I went to prep school with Coach Taylor first. That's how I was able to have like a high school experience, if that makes sense, go against the top players in Florida. And then, that was how I was able to develop and kind of adjust, prepare me for college.
What's the biggest difference between the game over there and the game here once you got here?
The speed. Like in England, or you could say European style of basketball, like run a lot of plays, slow tempo. I mean, it can be fast, but slow tempo. But it's like America's like run and gun. It's like up and down. And so as a big, especially, like you got to be able to be a good rim runner. And that was something I was able to develop whilst playing for Coach Taylor.
The physicality of the game, is it much different at all either?
I mean, kind of, but I grew up, we playing like pro clubs as well, like in England. So like in Europe, we play pro clubs, so we play in men's leagues. So I grew up playing against grown men. So it's like, it is physical, but because I was used to playing against grown men, it kind of helped me adjust to coming to America.
Okay. Coach, you got anything?
No. Like I said, I've known the young man now for what, 4 years?
Yeah.
4 years. Wow. Well, time flies, man. Time flies.
Right.
So he's a hard worker. And that's one of the things that I always liked about the kids. I don't think American kids understand, man. When you're trying to go to college, you're trying to get drafted, there's a whole other set and entity of player, right? That is kind of out of sight, out of mind. But there's the European player, right? That people don't know about. You don't know how hard that young man or that young lady is working on their craft as well. And I think sometimes American kids think that because they're here playing AAU, they're here being talked about, that they're good enough. But, what you got to understand is basketball is a global game. It's an international game, and to take the steps that Jonathan did to leave home, to come to America, to come to a stranger, like that takes a lot of courage and a lot of self-belief and conviction. And I think sometimes American kids have it so easy, right? Because mom and dad or whoever is here, AU's here, everything is here for them. You know what I mean? They don't have to go typically, with a stranger across the pond and like he said, take on a different culture, a different world. And so that needs to be talked about more, for the kids like Big Jono that are putting themselves out there like that and taking those leaps of faith and belief in themselves to chase a dream.
John, with coming over, like how, like you said, you get to play in the pro clubs and everything, but like, did you ever entertain like trying to come over to play high school ball, or was prep just always the ticket for you?
I mean, I would say the thing is, I'm a late bloomer, if I'm being honest. I only started playing basketball at 14. I mean, it's not too late, but of course, like that's probably the age where high school already starts.
Right.
When I started playing basketball as a scrub, I couldn't make a left-hand layup to save my life. So it's like I had to develop. By the time I came into my own play as a basketball player, that was when it was time to go to prep school, of course. However, coming on early, because in England, you got to leave at a certain time to come to America and play high school to make sure you're eligible because of the grades and different classes, if that makes sense. So
right.
At the time when I was younger, I wasn't ready to come to high school. It was better for me to develop in England. But by the time I kind of came into myself and I was ready to take that next step, that's when prep school was an option for me.
Now UK, that like I'm just trying to think of any like UK ballers in the league. Are there any that are in the league right now from the UK?
I mean, you could throw back obviously Luol Deng. Right now, OG Anunoby, he's from the UK.
Okay.
So he's a British player. I mean, you got someone like Cavell Big B Williams played at LSU and stuff like that. He plays in the G League. I mean, we've got a couple of we got a lot of British guys, especially at the Division I level in college. So
okay, because it was like you think of the foreign players. It's always a lot of France and different countries. You don't necessarily hear the UK a lot as far as basketball.
Yeah, it's because basketball is like it's a growing sport in England. I would say, like, especially because, like, in England, a lot of other sports are much more dominant. Like, of course, you got soccer, you got stuff like rugby, you even got cricket and stuff like that. So basketball is still growing. Whereas in the other European countries, basketball is at least top 2 sports. When you go to like Spain, when you go to France and stuff like that, and their pro leagues are high level EuroLeague type of players. Whereas in England, like I said, it's a growing sport. So it's not really, I mean, now it's starting to get a lot more popular and stuff like that. But that's the only reason why I would say it probably hasn't been, obviously you have Luol Deng, but there probably hasn't been an influx of players getting to the NBA level just because, of course, with us, like we don't really grow up playing basketball.
So how tall are you?
6'9".
So you were 6'9", but you didn't pick up the game till 14.
Yeah. But I mean, I was also a late. I mean, like I have growth spurts. So when I was 14, I was probably around like 5'10". So I was tall,
Wow.
of course. I was tall, of course, for my age. So yeah, that's what made me start basketball. To be honest, was my height. Everyone kept telling me that I should try to play basketball. I mean, I was good at soccer, but I started playing basketball, started going more and more, and fell in love with the game, and then the rest is history.
With soccer, how did soccer prepare you for basketball? Or did it prepare you for basketball at all?
I mean, yeah, it did. I feel like the thing is with me playing soccer is like with basketball, you need your own swag. You know what I'm saying? Soccer is a very technical sport. You try to put it through someone's legs, try to embarrass them with the dribble, obviously go score goals, go celebrate. It's like soccer has a lot of swag to it. And I feel like with basketball, you don't have to be a showboy. You don't have to be nothing crazy, but you got to have your own swag. So I feel like with soccer, it's like going from soccer to basketball, the confidence I had in myself carried, even though I wasn't where I wanted to be. Like I said, I was a scrub when I started. It's like I was chasing that greatness because I wanted that swag, that energy that I know I could bring in basketball. I just had to match my talent with my energy.
Right. Okay. So at 14, like obviously you start playing the game. What gravitated to the game? Obviously, other than your size, but like, was there any players that you grew up watching that you try to either pattern your game behind, or just that really brought you to the sport?
No, it wasn't really to bring me to basketball. Wasn't no players. I like the probably only player I probably knew around the time before starting basketball was Kobe Bryant. I mean, he was popular around that time, but I mean, I wouldn't say a player brought me to basketball. I mean, someone in my era, local guy, like my bigger brother named Samson. He brought me. He was the one that was playing basketball, and he made me I seen him post about basketball, which made me start to get more interested in stuff in basketball. But once I started, I remember like Dwight Howard was one of my favorite players because he was in his prime in Orlando. So I used to love Dwight Howard. I mean, Paul Pierce was also in his prime, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. So those are like kind of my 4 players. Obviously, when I first started basketball, like they was all kind of at the peak of their career. And of course, KG as well. That's my guy. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big KG fan. Y'all are like, so is it difficult to catch the games? Because aren't you guys like 6 hours behind us?
Yeah.
So how do y'all catch games? Because when the games are coming on, that's like 2, 3 in the morning typically for y'all.
Yeah. It's hard to catch the games. I mean, it depends. Like I probably like in England, it was more something when it's the playoffs is when I proper lock in and actually like try to watch the game. During the season, during this normal season, I'll just watch the highlights in the morning and stuff like that. But when it came to like the playoffs, that's when I wanted to watch it. Just obviously the energy and obviously the stage is something you want to witness live and not just the next day or just watching highlights.
Right. So right now, as far as your game, who would you compare your game to now?
I mean, to be honest, personally, like it depends. I feel like I'm a mixture of both. If you're saying who I really, the energy-wise, who I bring to every game, I'll say someone like Kevin Garnett. I like the way he plays hard. I like just his passion for the game. That's kind of like me. I mean, I'm a high-level defender, shot blocker, and stuff like that. So, I don't really have an individual that I would say I just see what I like and try to adapt it, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of stuff I'll take from different players. Like I'll take stuff from Anthony Davis. I might try to take some stuff from KD, KG, whether it's Tim Duncan. It's just everyone. It's just like I try to take a different stuff from different people that I feel like will help best help me develop. So yeah.
Okay. As far as being in America, how does it differ from the UK? Because I got a couple buddies that I fuck with on the Xbox that's from the UK, and I talk to them all the time. This funny as hell. Just they whole slang and the way they talk about shit is just so far different from us. Like how is that transition for you from the UK to here now, being over here for 4 years? How do you compare it?
I mean, it's a lot of different things. You go from the littlest thing, for example, we drive on the other side of the roads. The car wheel is on the other side of the car, if that makes sense. So the D is on the right side of the car, whereas obviously in America it's on the left side. I mean, I feel like it's like a lot of stuff is different in its own way, but I don't know how to explain. Like the food is different, the people is different. Obviously, you guys got different accents, but I feel like especially coming to America, I realized like every state is kind of like its own different country. Yeah. So you get to experience different. So I've been in Florida when I was in Pensacola, Florida, Coach Taylor. I saw what the people were like in Florida, different compared to being in North Dakota, different compared to being Toledo, different compared to being California. So one thing I've realized about being in America is there's just so much, everyone is so different. And it's just a big country, which I like, of course, because it's good to be your own, but it's interesting to see traveling to different states, how much different it is from one other state and how guys could have two different opinions, as you can see where the climate of things are in like the world right now. So yeah. Yeah, like they be bugging because they be telling they be eating baked beans for breakfast. Fire. baked beans of onions. That's fire. What the fuck is this, bro? Like, I still can't get over that shit whenever I hear that shit, bro. Like, bro, be telling me like baked beans and tomatoes and shit like for breakfast, bro. Like this. Probably have some mushrooms and stuff like that on the side. Try baked beans with some sausage, no homo. That shit gonna taste fire. That's wild, bro. Wow. Okay, I got another question for you. So like UK hip hop. Yeah. They be trying to hit me to it, and I can't really get with it. But there's one cat that I do fuck with named Dave. Yeah, Dave hard. I fuck with Dave. I can fuck with Dave, but the rest of the shit I can't get with it, bro. It's just like maybe it's because the way they sound. It's just like it all damn near fucking sounds the same to me. Yeah. Dave is hard though. Do you know? I understand it. It's just the way we are is just different. You got what I'm saying? Yeah. Like even just from the way we talk, it's different. So it's like we just have a different type of flow. I feel like our music is much more chill. Like it's like I'm not gonna compare it to J. Cole. I'm just saying like like J. Cole's flow. It's like our music is just chill, whereas you guys are a lot more upbeat. Like the different ways, and you got like a little baby, you got a gun and stuff like that. It's like that's not really the main. I mean, the only comparable thing you could say is at least drill rap. I mean, from the New York scene to England, it's kind of similar. We rap on the same type of beats and stuff like that. Yeah, I've noticed that. Like the music for sure is different. I understand it. With me, like I said, I'm gonna still play my English shit in the car and stuff like that. I mean, Americans may not like it, but like I said, I don't really like whatever you like. You know what I'm saying? I don't go force nine or no one. So yeah. I think with Dave is I'm able to pick up on his bars a little bit better than I can some of the other cats that I've heard. Like where you can actually hear like if he had an American accent, like he would be spitting like, you know what I'm saying? His shit would be top tier that I think that I've heard from him. You know what I'm saying? Like there was another cat, it was a white dude they put me on that was spitting some shit too, but I can't remember his name. But it's different. That's definitely something that I've been trying to get a little more into as far as listening to the shit. But it's like I said, Dave is the dude that I can fuck with. The funny dude with the wild haircut be cracking me up too. The dude that's on the memes when he's pointing at his head. What's his name, fam? I forgot his fucking name, bro. But that dude's comedy. I'm trying to think. What's his name? He got the gold ring on. He looked like a dude back from the 80s, and I always thought it was a cat from the 80s with the meme until I seen him rapping. I was like, oh shit, that's a rapper from the UK. Like the shit blew my mind. a rapper, he's a comedian, but like he raps like for like he does like skits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, his name's like
because he goes at the he be beefing with the dude, the Quick Maps cat.
yeah.
Is that his name?
Michael Daps.
Yeah.
Michael Dapper.
Yeah, that shit's crazy. So the NBA, you watch a lot of the NBA?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we're gonna go into the NBA right now. Me and Coach Taylor go at it back and forth because I'm a John Morant guy.
Yeah.
He's a Trae Young cat. We be going back and forth as to who's better. Who do you prefer, Trae Young or John Morant?
I mean, who's still in the playoffs?
Enough said. Enough said. Enough
I mean,
said.
I think it's nice, but it's just like for me, like John Morant, like he's 1-1 right now against the Warriors. So and he's hooping. He just had 47 points last game. So I mean, he's still in the playoffs right now.
We're acting like Trae wasn't doing this last year against Philly, against the Knicks on a nightly basis. He was going to the Garden and owning the whole Garden.
You said the Knicks and Philly. You said the Knicks and Philly.
Hey, he had to get through those teams to get to the conference finals. I mean, I like Ja Young too, but I'll stand on it. His game is not what today's NBA is. That slashing athletic NBA guard is not what it's about. Today's NBA is about the shooting. The shooting is premium, shooting is luxury. And I watched Trae Young take a lesser team in the Hawks to the Eastern Conference Finals, so we'll see what Ja does. Ja
in a lesser conference.
It's not a lesser team.
You could say that, but the champs came out of that conference. So how is it lesser? Because the champs came out of
Because from top to bottom, it is lesser. It's not as big of a fight every night.
Hey, man, when you're in the playoffs, every game against who you're playing is a fight. I don't care who you're playing. They're all fights. Ain't no guarantees. You got to go and win and perform the game. So it's simple as that.
Nah, you can't even listen to that. At the end of the day, John Morant this is against the champions. This is against Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. They got Jordan Poole now who's hooping, Draymond Green. This is a stacked roster right now that John Morant's, and it's not like he ain't got no all-stars next to him. I'm not gonna say that obviously the Memphis team is definitely better than Atlanta, but like still John Morant basically by himself.
Cool. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks when they're at home and they get eliminated by the Warriors. We'll ask you then. We'll talk to you.
I think they are gonna lose.
We'll ask you then.
But that don't excuse the fact that John Morant is a better player than Trae Young.
I mean, that's your opinion, but last time I checked, Trae Young led the NBA in total points and total assists. So
and then the playoffs.
The dude is.
What did Miami do to him?
The dude is a baller.
What did Miami do to him?
The same thing that the Warriors about to do to Ja Morant. They put him out.
After he just put 47 on their head, that's what the Warriors about to do to Ja Morant.
They put them out of there. We know they're losing the series.
Ja Morant, Trae Young never had 47 points the whole series, coach. At least Ja Morant's going out swinging. Trae Young scored 11 points, 1 for 9 from 3. So at least Ja Morant going out swinging. Trae Young, he just packed his bags and said it's over with.
All right. Like I said, led the NBA in total points and total assists. We're so quick to. I think Ja Morant, because he's so exciting, he makes people a prisoner of the moment. Because he's so exciting and he's something. You look at him, he's different than everybody else. He's got dreads with color in him. He's dunking all over the place. He's just a very exciting athletic player, and I understand that. But that is not today's NBA.
Trae Young is today's player. Like shooting is exciting. He is
shooting is such a premium, man. It's such a premium.
Trae Young is comical. No one's he's one of the best players in the NBA at the end of the day. He's an all-star for sure. It's just we're just comparing greatness. That's it. And right now, I'm just saying John Morant's greatness is higher than Trae Young's. Trae Young's a bucket. Come on, I already know how nice he is, but it's just that's a regular season. This is the real basketball right now.
He took a lesser team to the conference finals.
Miami locked him up, bro.
The East is weak.
They did a great job. They did a great job.
Coach, the East is weak. The East is weak right now.
Weak. The defending champs are out of the East. So what are we talking about?
The East is weak right now. Come on. Yeah, the Bucks is nice, but if you compare it, look at the Suns, you got the Warriors, and like, come on, coach. Those two teams.
It stops right there because the Suns are making the Mavericks. All that stuff Jalen Brunson was doing, he's a non-factor now. Luka's out there, a one-man show. Mavericks are about to get swept. So you got the Suns and the Warriors. That's it. That's all you got in the West.
So you don't think the Mavericks get a game at home?
Memphis Grizzlies like that.
They might get a game at home, if the Suns decide to let off the brakes. But I mean, when you go into these matchups, The goal is not to win a game here and there. The goal is to win a series.
Yeah, no, I agree.
They're not going
I'm
to
just
do
saying
that.
you
Like
said
as good as Jalen Brunson was a week ago, he has been non-existent this series. He has gotten outplayed at every facet of the game, and Luka's having to do way too much. And I've been adamant in saying that I love Luka and I applaud Luka, but Luka needs a co-star, and and Mark Cuban has to find a way to get him some help to Dallas. And the biggest thing that I would want to see as an NBA fan that likes drama and likes good teams is I would love to see Luka and Joker play together, because I don't think either one of them is going to be able to get it done by themselves. They need a serious co-star, both of them, and I think it makes sense that it would be the two of them guys,
But
because they're not going to be able to get it done by themselves.
They're both very ball dominant though. That's the only thing. Like obviously, Joker's nice, but it's just they're both very ball dominant.
I mean, in today's NBA, you got to have that. Like, you got to have guys that can give you something. You have to have ball dominant guys. I mean,
let me ask you this: so you don't think with Joker, if he's got a healthy Jamal Murray and a healthy and I healthy Michael Porter Jr.,
right?
You know what I'm saying? I think that makes up a lot of ground in the West, where they're on a level with the Phoenixes and the Memphises if they have those two guys healthy.
Yeah.
I just don't know what Jamal Murray's going to be. It's been 2 years, right? And I just don't know what truly he is going to be. A wise coach once told me just this week, the game changes every single day. The game changes every single day. And 2 years away from the game for any reason, it's just a long time, man. You lose 5% of a step, you lose this, you lose that. Guys are, officiating changes, and just, to me, like, I really like Murray, but I don't know if he's going to be bubble Murray when he comes back, or if he's going to be.
Well, I think the bubble has proven everybody that was some hyped up shit, because if you look at all the guys who went nuts in the bubble, it was Jamal Murray, it was Donovan Mitchell, it was T.J. Warren, and it was Anthony Davis. And you look at all of them cats that went nuts in the bubble. Once the bubble shit was over with, they came back to earth.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that none of them cats aren't nice, because all of them are nice, but you haven't seen them play to that level that they played in the bubble since. And I think that bubble was just, I think after you've had time to look at it, you can analyze that bubble was a completely different monster, where it really helped some cats being in one spot and not having a crowd, and not, different elements of the game were taken away, where it helped their game out. But I think Jamal Murray possesses the skill set in today's NBA where I'm not going to say he's Booker-ish. Like, he's kind of similar to what Booker can do, but as a point guard. You know what I'm saying? They kind of got the same skill set, in my opinion. So if you add that to Joker, and then Porter, like I said, if he can stay healthy, you know what I'm saying? And I like Bones, you know what I'm saying? So when you add that and some of the other guys that they've had and made their team a little deeper with what that is, I think that's a good team.
That's true. I even think that even with the thing is with Jamal Murray, I don't think he's someone that's just nice because he was in the bubble. He was peaking like continuously every year and year. It's like when he hit the bubble year, that was like his next step from that year. And so I don't even think he was just nice because in the bubble. I think he was already peaking already from how much better he was getting. So it's unfortunate, because like you said, I feel like he's definitely an all-star, and he's definitely a big piece for the Joker to have, because he stretches the floor out, he's dynamic, and then with Michael Porter Jr. it's the same thing as well.
Yeah, and he gets to the basket better than people give him credit. He's a little more athletic than I think people give him credit for, and I want to see him healthy with that team, because I think that, what Joker's been able to do this year to hold them together, for them to win that many games. I didn't expect them to win that many games. And if you bring them two guys back healthy, I think that's a difference. With that Memphis game, you obviously had Dylan Brooks with the flagrant 2 on Gary Payton, the third, or whatever it is. He's suspended for game 3. Do y'all see that being a big factor in game 3 back in Golden State?
Nah, because he got kicked out early in the game. In the first quarter, it was like a couple minutes into the first quarter, and Memphis won the game. So they was able to win it last time without him for basically the whole game. I think Memphis could still win.
Coach?
I don't see it. I think the Warriors are going to win. He's going to be out a month, which just means the Warriors got to play smarter, and the Warriors, obviously got to get the series over. Memphis has, obviously the youth factor, and so I think that Brooks was responding to the Draymond foul
I said the
the game
same thing.
before. But unfortunately, sometimes being youthful just means you lack a certain delicacy to go about things, and he put that target on his back, and so he'll be suspended. But I just think that this puts more of a emphasis on Draymond and Kerr to be screaming the message that we got to finish guys off. We can't let teams hang around. We can't be trying to play catch up. One thing I will say, and I've been adamant about this for years, when Klay Thompson is not shooting the ball well, he doesn't have any value. And I think that people got to understand that he's coming off some injuries, he's coming off some time out. And so when he's not shooting well and it's 5 of 15, 5 of 16, it's probably time to tell him pass those shots to Poole, to Curry, to other players to defer a little more. Don't try to shoot himself out of a slump against a young, hungry, athletic Memphis team. Now is not the time to do that in the playoffs, man. Not against this team, right? Like, this is not the team to do that. And I just think that, when I go back to game 2, they were trying to take control of that, and they were getting him the ball, and he just wasn't his night. And that happens to a lot of players. It's just not their night. And so I would like to see them right around that 12 shot mark. If he's, hit less than 4, he needs to become a distributor or he needs to come out the game, period. Because he couldn't guard Ja Morant, which most people can't. So I'm not going to hold that against him. But he wasn't making shots. And I will hold that against him because he's supposed to be this quote unquote second best shooter in this era. And he was not making shots. And the ball needs to get to Curry and Poole so they can put the game away and not be going tick for tat for point. And then eventually Ja was able to take over with his talent and greatness.
Well, let me ask you this. Are you saying Klay Thompson overall through his whole career or just now hasn't brought anything to the table other than his shooting?
I'm not saying he hasn't brought anything to the table, but I'm saying he's been overhyped because of what he does at his size. He got labeled this elite and great defender, and he had the injuries, man. And like I said, the injuries just take a part of you. There's no getting around it. They take a part of you. Even if it's only 5 to 7%, it takes away from you. There's no getting around that. Man's body is not made to have consecutive surgeries year in and year out and then go back out there and still be at the elite 100% level that you were. There's just no getting around that. And right now, I've noticed with his game is that obviously, Kerr wants him to obviously have success. The team wants him to have success. So sometimes when guys come off those injuries, the coach's mindset to have success is let them shoot their way out of a funk. Well, as you saw in game 2, he kept shooting and they lost. So you got to at some point cut that feel-good story down and say, what matters now is winning this basketball game. And tonight is not your night, my friend. And we need to get rebounds because we could not rebound the ball to close out possessions when we got, quote unquote, the missed shot. And then he couldn't make shots. So it's like, if he's out there, you got to know this isn't a feel-good moment. We need to win and put this series away. This series going to 7 games will not do the Warriors any good because then you'd have Phoenix waiting and you'd be tired as hell. And they'd probably be fresh because they're going to close that series out in no more than 5 games. And that's not what you want. The Warriors are an old team. Their window is now, man. Their window is now because once Donovan Mitchell makes his move, and I'm pretty sure that Utah is going to blow this. They're probably going to get rid of Mitchell. He's going to go somewhere. That's one less team you got to worry about. And so the Warriors' window is now. It really is. It's now. Once LeBron figures out if he's going to stay, come, go, wherever he's going, that's like the Warriors' window is now. Like, this is their time now. Those guys are showing their age. Draymond Green has not hit double figures in scoring for a long time. Like, he's just not himself either. He's just not. And so the Warriors' window is now to win. It's now.
What going to the East where Miami they kind of just beating up on Philly. What do you make of the whole James Harden? Because you have said, you have made yourself pretty clear about that James Harden, Ben Simmons trade, which we'll hit on that other end of that as well. But Harden just don't look like Harden. Like, if say they get swept, because I don't know if Embiid's going to play or what's going to happen, but say they get swept, Philly is forced with a decision to give this man a max or not. What do you think? Do you think they can hesitate on giving that man a max, or do they have to give him the max? Like, what is the deal? How would you handle that James Harden ordeal?
Well, here's my problem with the whole Philly situation. Daryl Morey has just been so blinded by this because ever since he took that job in Philly, he's been determined for 2 years to get Harden over there. But Harden is not the Houston Harden that we once saw. He is far removed from that. And there's just no getting around that. So I want to say this, Embiid will play because he has a ton of heart and he's not Ben Simmons. He will give it a go. He will certainly try. He will make a difference. I believe he's the MVP. But like I told you, when that trade went down, I still don't know who won that trade because Simmons didn't play at all for Brooklyn. And they gave up a ton of depth for him, and he didn't even get out there and attempt it. And Harden's out there playing, but shit, he might as well not be playing. The way he looks, he might as well just give every shot to Tyrese Maxey and just not be playing because he's just not himself, man. He's not. I mean, he's an avid person who loves life and loves to party with the rappers, and that's cool. I get it. You got money, go do that. But as an organization, when I'm writing your checks and I'm paying you hundreds of millions of dollars, I kind of need you to be on top of your craft. Lil Baby's on top of his craft. Why can't you be on top of your craft? Well, if you're going to go hang out with guys who are on top of their craft and profession, then you better walk your ass in here and be on top of your craft. And he's not, man. There's no way I'm giving that guy that money, but that's me. And see, that's the problem. Daryl Morey is going to want to do something different because Harden has been his guy for 6-7 years. So there's a sense of nepotism and loyalty there that he's just not going to be able to you know what I mean? To see what's really real. But let's be clear. This is a contract year for James Harden, essentially. And you would not know by the way he's playing because most guys in their contract year play a little more desperate and a little more hungry. I'm curious to see what the young fellow thinks. What do you think, Big John?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about James Harden is nice. It's just it doesn't like his game it's like what Kobe said. It's like it just doesn't equate to like winning. You get what I'm saying? So it's like it depends. Like this is hard. Me personally, I mean, I would say Brooklyn won the trade because look at that. If you forget Ben Simmons, look at the extra pieces they got. Like they got Seth Curry. They got a whole lot of guys that was a great addition to their team. I mean, me personally, it's like it is what it is at this point. It's almost one of, but it's just that the thing with Philly is Tyrese Maxey, the way he's hooping right now, like he's an all-star right now. He's carrying them right now. If they had him beat, I think it'll be a different picture. So if Tyrese Maxey throwing up 34 and stuff like that, like Embiid gonna have 20 and 10 easy. So it's like that's the only thing with them right now is why you can't really judge Philly off of what's going on right now. They don't have their best player. He's probably the MVP this year. So that's the only questionable thing. I mean, in terms of the max, I mean, they're probably gonna have to give him the max. Because otherwise, why did you trade for him? You get what I'm saying? It's kind of
that's what I was saying. Because
they don't give him.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now I'm saying they don't give him the max. It's like they just lost so they lost Ben Simmons and all them other pieces and James Harden. So what's the point? So they're most definitely gonna have to re-up James Harden.
Yeah, see, I was wondering because, like I said, at this point you can tell he's obviously not the same Harden. Like he can't get past nobody no more. Like where Harden used to, he's never been the most athletic cat on the court, but he could get past you. You know what I'm saying, with his handle to get loose. Like he's not hitting step backs. He's not, he just don't look the same. And I wonder if the hamstring injury that he tried to come back from last year hampered him. But when he was in Brooklyn, he looked better in Brooklyn when he was playing than as he has since coming to Philly. So it's a little weird to me. I wonder if he can see the decline in himself and if he would be willing to take less than the max because his players decline. Because I think if Philly was like, okay, well, we're not going to give you the max, I don't know that anybody else would gamble on that and give him the max where he can go pick up another max contract. But I think Philly has shot themselves in the foot because I think, like Jay said, they have to give him the max. Or else you completely gave up those players for nothing for half a season of James Harden that resulted in a second round loss.
That's a scary thought. That's a scary thought.
It's wild. Now, on the other hand, Ben Simmons announced that he's got to have back surgery. And, there was a perception of him myself included, as far as him not playing, does him having this back surgery change your perception of him at all from this whole ordeal?
How about you, young fella? Go ahead.
I mean, it's one of them. The situation with Ben Simmons kind of weird because like we didn't like it's like almost he didn't know nothing. You get what I'm saying? It's like he didn't really know why he wasn't playing in Philly. Of course, they said what they said in the media, but it's like there was always more to the story. So it's one of those situations where like, did Brooklyn even know about his back situation? Like they should have, because obviously I know they done physical. So
Right.
it's one of them situations where it's like I don't know. It's like it's like it worked out better for Brooklyn because they got the extra pieces they needed, and James Harden, of course, wanted to leave. But it's one of them questions. Is like this is what I'd say with Ben Simmons is being around players like Kyrie and Kevin Durant in terms of their talent level and their work ethic. If Ben Simmons like there's no way Ben Simmons can fail. I think he's gonna have his best season next year. He's with Kevin Durant, who's a gym rat all the time, eats, sleeps basketball. With Kyrie Irving, who's one of the best ball handlers we've ever seen in the NBA. There's no way Ben Simmons, even though like everything's been negative with him so far, I feel like with those and their confidence, because I think one thing with Ben Simmons is for some reason it's like you could tell his confidence has kind of been shot. I mean, it's hard being in the media and if everyone's just clowning your jump shots. I can't speak for that. I've never been in that type of. I've never felt what it feels like. So it's like I can understand it, but I feel like with being around Kevin Durant and Kyrie, one thing is he's probably gonna have his swagger back going into next season. They're gonna give because it's like KD knows what it feels like to be the villain, and I feel like being the villain in the NBA is one of those things you just gotta appreciate for where it is. So it's like being with KD, Kyrie, two players that number one know what it feels like being a villain in the NBA, and number two, for one of the greatest basketball players I've ever seen in the NBA. So I feel like after the back surgery, all things going good, I feel like Ben Simmons might have his best season going into next year.
Coach?
Doesn't change my opinion. I still think he's soft as shit. I still think he's just a kid that made a lot of money playing basketball, and he doesn't really love the game, but he loves everything that comes with it. The fame, the checks, the glory, the ability to date, other famous women. But, I mean, let's be real, man. If your back is where it needed surgery, he didn't play this year. So that means his back has been hurt, right? So then the hope was that he would try to play and put off the surgery, right? Because this didn't come out of nowhere. It wasn't like he was playing in a series, somebody landed on his back.
See,
so that tells me
the thing that throws me off about it is like Jonathan was saying, okay, when you're traded, you have to pass physicals. So when you take that physical and you pass that physical, if there was something with his back at that time, they'd have seen it. He wouldn't have passed the physical. And thus the trade would have been voided. So for now, all of a sudden, it went from being a mental health issue to, okay, the mental health issue is causing stress within my body, which now is making my back hurt. So now I got to have back surgery, but I passed the physical. None of this shit makes sense to me. Like he was
Brooklyn didn't bring him there to sit, man. Brooklyn brought him there to play in the playoffs. He came in February. So they was like, hey, get yourself right during the regular season, minute restrictions, whatever you need to do, but we need you in the playoffs. And the elimination game, he's not even sitting on the bench with the team. So his back all of a sudden is that bad that he has to, I don't even know where he was, but he wasn't on the bench with the team. Like, come on, I'm not buying it, man. I'm just not buying it. I think that what Brooklyn did was they, blamed it on the black. They didn't want to throw him under the bus, whatever. But how much more is this kid going to ask for other people to not throw him under the bus and not take responsibility and accountability and try to throw it on something else? Like at some point, the man got to look in the mirror and say, hey, I'm not a winner and I just don't care about basketball like that. You know what I mean? I'm just not. And at some point, these teams got to stop. I give Philly credit. They didn't baby the kid. Doc didn't baby him, neither did Embiid. Like, dude, you got to play better. And as soon as he heard that, he all of a sudden had a mental health flare up. So, all right, cool. Went from, like you said, went from mental health to now physical injury, but he couldn't even be out there on the sidelines with his team. So I'm just not buying it, man. It doesn't change my perception of him that he's going through an injury. And I hope that what Jonathan said is right. I hope he comes back and I hope he has a great season and proves us all wrong. But I'm from the hood, man. I'm from Detroit. What's in your heart is in your heart. This dude got a lot of Kool-Aid pumping in that heart. Period. Period.
One thing I will say though, with Ben Simmons' game, if he gets it right, his game is perfect to play with KD and Kyrie. He's gonna feed
Yeah.
them the ball. But I'm like, I hear what you're saying, coach, but it's like I said, I don't know. We don't know the information because it's like the stuff they're giving us is like you already know at that time, like it's not coming from him. It's just they just put out stuff. It's all about narratives. That's the thing with social media, whether it's the NBA or whatever. It's all about trying to paint a certain narrative. And I feel like what we've been hearing about Ben Simmons has just been different ways of them trying to paint a certain narrative to kind of keep the fans at bay and all of that stuff. But it's just that it's almost like their narratives are running into each other and it's not making no sense. And that's the problem. Because it's not making no sense, everyone can see right through it. So that's the problem with this whole Ben Simmons situation. I just feel like the narratives they've been trying to create have kind of been counterproductive of how they thought the outcome would probably be.
I think if he's healthy, even with the soft, how he is soft, there's no way around that. But like you're saying, I think if he's healthy, just his skill set as far as what they lack makes them damn near unbeatable, in my opinion, if everybody's healthy, because he's a playmaker. He don't care to shoot. So that helps KD and Kyrie. And then, you know what I'm saying, he's elite defensively, which they have none of. So when you have a guy who can guard realistically all five positions, you might not want him guard the center all game, but he can guard all five positions and you can put him everywhere on the court and just say, okay, we don't need you to shoot threes. We need you to play defense and get the baskets how you used to getting them. I think if he comes back and just playing and can play his game and then they allow him to play his game, then I think that'll do a lot for his confidence and he can be what we've been used to seeing. Now, I also think there's no excuse for him not working on his jumper. And like Jonathan was saying too, when you're in the gym with KD and Kyrie and they're putting in all this work to improve and they've already seen the highest of the highs of the league, you would think that has to rub off on him where necessarily he hasn't played with nobody like that yet. Embiid is Embiid. Embiid is nasty. But Embiid has not experienced what KD and Kyrie have. And then even Embiid has had to, people have gotten on Embiid for not working as hard at points in time. He's averaging at a different place now, but there was criticisms of Embiid before as well. So I think where maybe he saw Embiid more as an equal, he can't see himself as an equal with KD and Kyrie, and maybe he takes a little better direction from them than he would from Embiid or anybody else.
We'll tell.
Right. Boston and Milwaukee, that's tied 1-1. Where Giannis had the triple-double game one, I told everybody, I said, they held him to 25 points on 27 shots. I said, whenever you can hold Giannis to that type of shooting night where he's inefficient, normally you're going to win the game. And then game two, they kind of did the same shit where he was inefficient. I think, me personally, I see Boston. I think they're going to get this series. But the champs are the champs. And with Middleton being hurt, I think to me, Milwaukee has played a little better, I think, without Middleton. I think this is a bad matchup for them. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Jono.
Me personally, I like this series, and I like Boston. I feel me personally, I've always underrated Boston. I never thought they would ever take that next step. But seeing everything how their plan come into fruition, me personally, what I would love to see Boston versus Miami. I just think they both got a whole team full of hungry dogs that know their roles and they play it to the highest position. Like Grant Williams guarding Giannis, he knows what he's on the court to do, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to complete his role. So I feel like with a team like Boston, they just got a lot of hungry guys, and they got a core that's been together for a long period of time. So even though they are young, it's like a young core of vets. And it's one of those situations where everyone knows each other. Grant Williams been in the program for mad long. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, the whole team. So it's like when it comes to this, I just feel like with them, they're just the type of hunger. This is the thing I feel like even as a basketball player, I feel like when it comes to hunger, you don't see it in the way they play. You see it in their eyes. And when you see these guys balling, you see in their eyes like they want it and they know they can get it. I feel like it's going to be a tough. I think this might go the distance, me personally, because Giannis is just like he's unguardable, especially now his jumper's improved and stuff like that. I feel like he's going to go the distance, but Giannis is going to have to play at an elite level, which he's still young and he's definitely going to still be able to do it. But he's going to have to keep playing at an elite level to keep the Celtics at bay. And with me, I just feel like the Celtics is just too consistent. Like I want to see the Celtics versus Miami. That's what I think that would be one of the best series this year if that happens.
It would be a great series. Unfortunately, you're not going to see that this year, my man. Giannis is going to be too much, and he's going to bring it home. Giannis will figure out a way to get it done. I trust. I don't know how you say his name, Bud Holzheiser, or however you say his name, but I trust him to make the proper adjustments. Obviously, without Middleton, there's obviously a disadvantage on the Milwaukee side, but there's still an advantage because that team had to win the championship last year, and so those pieces and those things that happen just have a little bit more experience. I still do not trust what Boston is doing at the point guard spot. I just don't trust it there. I don't trust it there. And I think that the later this series goes on, the more things will happen. We've not seen the major meltdown from Marcus Smart. And make no mistake about it, Marcus Smart and Draymond Green got the same personality. And at some point, he'll have a meltdown in this series. And that's just who they are. That's what makes them great, but that's also what makes them slightly less than equal when it comes to offensive talent too. And I think that when he goes into that meltdown mode, you'll see Milwaukee be able to kick it into overdrive. Giannis is just, he's the face of the league right now. He's the best player in the league. And I think that they'll make the proper adjustments, as will he. He'll be more efficient, he'll do what he needs to do. Bobby Portis will be able to step up more and do more and bring that contagious energy. And I like Milwaukee to find a way to get this done and move on.
Coach, you might be able to speak to this a little more. Like obviously I'm a Bulls fan, and in that first series we couldn't do shit with Giannis, but those first two games with Middleton, we was able to still want to keep the game one close. And then after they lost Middleton, they just whooped our ass. Where I think with Middleton being the type of player he is, I think offensively they know they have to get him his shots.
Of course.
Which takes the ball out of Giannis's hands. And then they're a little easier to guard because Middleton's obviously a hell of a lot easier to guard with the ball in his hands than Giannis is. Right. And then I think once they lost Middleton, you go exclusively through Giannis and everybody else is just getting what they get off of him making passes or whatever, which I think essentially made them a little more efficient because he, when the defense collapsed, he's just throwing it to whoever the fuck is out there because all of them can shoot. And they were more oil machine. Did you kind of see that too? Or is Middleton really, impactful to the point where they're going to need him to win this season? Obviously, you don't think so, but, I think it was something to be seen where, to me, they played so much better without him, at least against us, than they did with him.
I think that Middleton is obviously a huge impact for their team, but I don't think they need him to win this series. And here's why. I think the game plan is pretty simple. No Middleton, cool. Giannis, do what you do. Everyone else, Drew and everybody else in company, get it how you live. But Giannis, this is why you've been the two-time MVP for these moments right here. And so I think it becomes very clear and contrite on what they're trying to do, and it becomes clear and contrite on what he's going to do, which is going to dominate because there's nobody in the league that can guard that young man. You can make it tough for him. You can make it a little, less efficient for him, but there ain't nobody in the league that can stop that dude. And so for me, that's why they can win this series without Middleton, because their plan from start to finish doesn't alter, doesn't waver. It's not like I said about Clay. It's not, okay, well, Middleton's back now. We got to try to let him play through a funk and get him some shots. And no, like I said for the Warriors, get the damn ball to Curry and Poole. Don't worry about Clay's feelings if he's not hitting. Get the ball to the guys that have been with you all season, have been taking you there. The Bucks are going to do that. They're going to get the ball to the right guy.
Now, let me say this, where you say that. What Boston was able to do against KD, and we would agree KD has a higher skill set offensively than Giannis, that don't give you concern where what they've been able to do the first two games, you think Giannis is just going to be able to shake out of it? where, like I said, he's been mad inefficient these first 2 games, and then now all of a sudden he's just gonna figure out, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, the first game they gambled in it and it took them out because everybody else was able to get, but they're not gonna do that every game. You're gonna need Giannis to explode where they've been able to keep Giannis at bay, and then like I said, that game 2, they blew him out the water. You think Giannis is able to be able to put something together where, as far as the defensive game plan has been relatively the same against Giannis as it was against KD, and it gave KD fits up until game 4.
Yeah, and here's the biggest difference. Giannis goes in the post quite a bit. KD does not. So Boston, as good as their defense has been, it's really just one side of the floor you got to guard. And that's, for KD, you're talking about guarding, basically free throw line extended. But Giannis, you got to guard the whole floor, man. Because I saw him go in the post and just throw Marcus Smart around like a rag doll, like he's supposed to do as a 7-footer. That's what he's supposed to do. And I think that's the biggest difference, is that with Boston guarding Giannis, they got to use everybody in the lineup at different times, right? Which means now you got to slow down Tatum or Brown's hot hand on offense, because now you got to go tangle in the post and do some dirty work with Giannis for 5 or 7 minutes, right? While the other star is getting a break. And so that wears you down, man. Like, that wears you down on the offensive end. And so I don't think it's going to be pretty for Giannis. I don't think he's going to have, Steph Curry type efficiency, but I think he does enough to get it done between putting the ball in the hoop and getting to the free throw line, because he's going to get to the free throw line because he's such a physical player, and he's going to make it very tough for Boston to guard him. Like, they're going to have to throw the kitchen sink at this young man to guard him.
Jonathan, we're going to go back to you to finish out. But as far as your college experience, we've had a lot of talk about, the transfer portal, and the NIL deals in college. What has been your experience with both in college so far?
I mean, this is my second time being in the transfer pool. Obviously, the reason I'm got a new coach and stuff like that. But I mean, my experience with the transfer pool, I mean, I feel like it's turning college basketball into the NBA in terms of free agency. Like how it was before in the NBA, where coaches could move around and players can really move around, and you see LeBron go to South Beach, and that kind of changed free agency. I feel like the transfer pool is like a big change, because now it's like a lot of mid-major guys might go high major because of the bad no deals for them. And I understand that, because at the end of the day, not everyone's going to make it to the NBA. So if you have the opportunity to capitalize off yourself and your game right now in college, make the best out of the situation. So I mean, there's good and bad with it. I feel like it all depends. It comes down to you as an individual, who you are as a player, how much you believe in yourself, and also being realistic. Everyone is as realistic. Some people go into the transfer pool off of false promises and end up being there and having no offers. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think it's a risk and reward. You just gotta know within yourself. You gotta be able to be realistic with yourself and knowing your value. Not everyone can do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times it's good to be confident. We also have to understand where is your current value right now. So if you do have that type of value, then the transfer pool, you can blossom from it. You can earn more money for your family and stuff like that, put yourself in a better situation. But if you're not realistic for yourself, you may end up not being in a school next year. So
that's a good perspective, because, like I said, we've talked a lot about it, but haven't had somebody that's gone through it, and seeing that you've gone through it a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? You've been able to capitalize as far as the best situation for you.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, end of the day, like, that's what you gotta do. Me personally, I bet on myself. I'm confident in myself, and I'm always gonna put myself in the best position first. So, I mean, that's exactly how I see it. I go make the best decision for me in terms of where I go, and understanding how powerful, like, the transfer pool is a great opportunity. So I'm grateful for it.
Who, over your college playing career, who's been the toughest guy you've seen on the court? It could be whether that you had to guard him or not, just in person, where you went up against him, and at the end of the night, you was like, that's a bad motherfucker right there. Who's been the best?
I want to add on to that before you answer too, Jono. I want to know who's the best team you played against. So he's asking you who's the best player. I want to know who's the best team you played against since you've been to the Division I level.
Player, I'll give 2 for player, like seeing and when I've guarded. When I've guarded, I'll probably say Hunter Dickinson at Michigan. When I played them last year, like he's like 7'1", 260. So and he's got a good touch around the rim. So it's like he's he's definitely the best player I've went up against in college basketball that I've seen. It's gonna be different. Me personally, it's a guy, Coach Taylor, like his name, Jalen Cone. I've seen him put like 42. I don't know what he had. Like 40 on that, 40 on my guards. You know, they tried hard. I'm not gonna fault them, but seeing that put like is a different. You know, when you see someone getting buckets, like it goes from one bucket, all right, whatever, 2 buckets out, then 3, 4, 5. You're like, yo, who guarded him? Like you guys what I'm saying. So it's like it's one of those situations. Like he was just working, and I can't even be mad because when you watch the film, he was just hitting tough buckets, and he's only like 5'7". Max like for his height, but like he's definitely a bucket. So yeah, I mean, best team Arizona this season. We played them earlier. That was the best team I've ever played against. Like from top to bottom, I just think their depth this season was crazy.
Yeah.
Like their bench bigs and the starting bigs was crazy. Their guards from the starters to the bench was crazy. I thought those guys. I asked Coach Taylor. I told him. I said either Arizona or Kansas is winning the national championship, and I was right. I just like my experience with Arizona was like, yeah, I just knew that was the best. That's the best team I've ever played against them. Yeah.
How did you feel about the big dude, Koloko? I see.
Koloko?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. Me personally, like, this is the thing with me is like I take pride in defense, and I don't like being embarrassed. So me personally, if you're talking about one-on-one matchup, I did good. However, like once they got to switching and stuff like that, they just started throwing lobs, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Koloko, he probably had, against us, he probably had like 20 points and 5 blocks. Like, he's a beast. You know, he's got NBA build. He's strong, athletic. So he's definitely a nice player.
What about Matherin?
Now, he's nice. He's definitely nice. He's a bucket for sure. I mean, he tried dunk on me, but, you know, that ain't happening. that ain't happening.
You held down the fort, huh?
Yeah. You know, at least he tried. But I mean, with me, I'm not scared of nothing. So if he would have made the play, he would have made the play. But I feel like my heart is the reason why he didn't make it. So
yeah, right. That's what it's supposed to be. All right. One thing we ask all of our guests on the show is we ask them if they could change any moment in sports. I think we lost him.
He out of there.
I think we lost him. See if he comes back, or I wonder if I got to re-invite him. Well, anyway, technical difficulties. Anyway, we thank Jonathan for being on. We got a lot of good information and content out of Jonathan. So if he comes back, we'll ask him the question, and if not, maybe we can get it in the comments or whatnot. Any closing comments, Coach Taylor, that you want to add?
Not right now. Obviously, just like yourself, curious to see how the balls bounce for the NBA lottery is coming up, and so I want to see what happened. I did want to ask you about this because I saw this. And I don't know if you saw this. I'm assuming you have. I saw that they're starting to become a serious push now for Jaden Ivey to go number 1. Have you seen that, or can you speak?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of pushing. I guess it depends on what team, but I saw if Detroit got him, I saw that they like him in Detroit for whatever reason. I saw if OKC got him, that OKC would entertain that supposedly. And Houston too, as a point guard. So
that's the one that shocked me the most. As I saw Houston, and for me being a Pistons fan, I want everybody to go except Banchero because I want him to be there whenever we pick. So I was cool with it, but I was just a little bit shocked by Houston, and just a little bit shocked in terms of his player comparison is Donovan Mitchell, and I can see that, which is why I don't think he's the number 1 guy, right? Like I'm not gonna like Donovan Mitchell's a shout out to you, Donovan, but he's nah.
He's got more size than Donovan Mitchell too. I would say. I don't think they list Ivy at 6'4", you know what I'm saying, and I think Mitchell is
about
6'1", something like that. So I saw a lot of Ja Morant comparisons, which I mean, okay, he is very athletic. I think Ja Morant definitely sees the floor a lot better than Ivy. Both of them shooting the ball. Ivy that I've seen doesn't shoot the ball great, but he's not incapable of shooting the ball. Me personally, I don't care what team it was that got there. I don't think he should be the number one guy.
One pick. Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that number one, I think he is a top 5 lock. I think he should be a top 5 lock. I think that number one pick should be between 3 guys, and then the 3 guys, it depends on what team and what they like. That's just how I would look at it. But I'm not mad at Ivy if he's got number one, then shout out to him because he's definitely a hell of a player. But that's not something that if I was picking that I would entertain. I think where guards are definitely special to get in this, if you got a special guard, it definitely helps. But I think some of these bigs where you can see they can change the game. I mean, especially if Holmgren checks out, like I said, how I feel about white bigs or white American players. But I think he can change the mold. He adds too much defensively to where I think bare minimum he's going to be a good defensive player. But if he can put some weight and then the offense continues to improve, because there's not many big guys that are 7 feet tall that can block a shot on one end, get the ball, handle the ball, take it up court, and then pull up for 3 and knock down a 3. There's not many guys walking the fucking earth that can do that. And he can do that. Now, can he do that on the NBA level? That's what's going to remain to be seen. Is he strong enough to bang out there? But I think just his length, I think defensively he's gonna be a problem defensively, and if that's all you get out of him in his career, depending on how good he is defensively, you can live with taking him in the top 3 picks. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the furthest he'll go is 3rd. I think, but you never know. Anybody could be anybody that likes somebody and change that whole shit up. So, but I had heard that. Would you be against him going if you got the number 1 pick at Detroit and you took him number 1? Would that bother you?
Yes, I think for Detroit, Banchero is the guy. If he's there, I don't think it's a question. I'm going to go on record and make this prediction. Banchero will win an NBA championship by 2033, and he'll also be a Finals MVP. Like, I think that's how good he is. I think he's that game-changing that if Detroit gets the pick, I don't care what pick it is. If that dude's on the board, you don't need the whole 5 minutes to turn that pick in. It's he's still there? Cool. Go slide that in. Let's go take him, boy.
I told you I've been high on him since he was a senior in high school, and I think bare minimum next year he's 17-8. I think he walks in the NBA 17-8 as a rookie, just productive.
Yeah.
He's too big. He's athletic. The upside of buddy from Auburn, Jabari, intrigues me. Chet intrigues me. But I think with those two, the intrigue is also the hope. Right. Where I see Paolo, and I just, like I said, I think that's his floor, is 17-8 in the NBA. If he don't ever get no better, he's gonna be a 17-8 guy, which that's production as a power forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, he 17-8, you don't want as your best player, but if that's your 3rd, 4th best player, you know what I'm saying, and you got him, I mean, I just think his floor is so much higher than everybody else's that you're looking at in that top 4.
The thing that really intrigued me about him compared to Jabari and some of the other guys, Jaden, is the thing that really sold him for me, that separates him, is his fucking demeanor, man. Like, he knows he's a dude. He wants you to go through him to win games down the stretch, and he's okay with taking on that responsibility. I mean, to me, man, like, where Cade Cunningham is a very nice kid, very laid back, you know what I mean, makes the right plays from an IQ standpoint, and you got a guy like, Banchero over there saying, man, give me the fucking ball and get out of my way. Like, I just think that the yin and yang of that, right? And today's player to come into the league and have that type of audacity, like, his demeanor will not change, right? When he's got a matchup on AD and AD comes back healthy, he's still going to be screaming for the ball. Like, yeah, I got him. I'm going to give him work. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, his demeanor will not change. And so when you got guys, because you're coming to the league, 18, 19 years old, out of college, you're gonna have some self-doubt. That's natural. You know what I mean? That is natural. But man, him in the tournament and that demeanor of, hey, you want to keep advancing, then keep getting me the fucking rock. I'll take a kid like that all day. If he misses every shot he takes, I will take a kid that doesn't have the lack of courage to take those shots, to live in those moments, you know. And sometimes guys come out and they're afraid to be more. They're afraid to do more, you know what I mean? Because they're afraid to fail. But with him, you can tell that he's been ingrained and bred for this, and he's not afraid to fail. He believes in himself. He's okay with having a 20-point night on a 25-shot attempt night as long as they got the win, and he'll fix it later. And for me, I don't care. This is Detroit. So we're never going to be efficient. We're never going to be pretty. We're not Hollywood. I don't care how we get them damn wins. Just get them. Right. I don't care if Cade Cunningham goes 10 of 40. We won the game. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, just keep the ball rolling.
To be, you know, fair to the guys at Duke last year, I don't think he played with a playmaker to the level of Cade, where
of course,
where he, you know, when he steps on the floor, if he steps on the floor with Cade, what he's gonna be able to do offensively and get easier shit, as to where there wasn't a setup guy on that team that really got him easier shots. Everything that he got,
he had to go get it himself
off the dribble, or he had to go get it himself, right? To where you have a guy like Cade who come in and, you know, do what he does and get him some easier shots on top of what he could do with a motherfucker on him, you know. Right. So yeah, I like I said, my stance hasn't changed on him. Like I said, other people's has changed, and when they soured on him, I was like, okay, he's still him, and I still believe that. So we're gonna end it there for this episode. We are on YouTube. Look for us, the Real Spill Sports Podcast. Twitter, TikTok, that's coming soon, but we did get the YouTube up, so now you can catch all of our episodes on YouTube. You get those, like and subscribe, comment, anything. We got more guests coming. We're getting that shit set up as well. So just be checking for us, man. Coach, you got anything to say? Take us out.
Have a great week, y'all. Enjoy the weather as it's starting to get better all across the country. Stay safe.
All right. With that, we out of here.